Do you know poem The Holy Sonnet That Be Not Proud by John Donne? And do you know the meaning of the poem? Watch this video until the end so you know the answer. Hello guys, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Devian Aulia Putri. Here I will explain about the meaning of the poem by John Donne, That Be Not Proud. And before we start, it will be nice if we know first about John Donne. John Donne, 1572 until 1631, was an English poet known for his metaphysical poetry, including sonnets, love poems, religious poetry, Latin translations, epigrams, elegy, songs, and satire. His poem combine wit and sentiment by using irony and rhetorical questions to contemplate abstract ideas. Much of his poetry used satire and metaphor to criticize Elizabeth's society, especially regarding the corruption and disease that he explores as taking over England. Donne was born into a member of the Church of England. He worked as a deacon and ordained priest. He wrote many secular sermons and poems and was known for his emphasis on exploring his own religion rather than following religious traditions. As John Donne got older, his work began to focus on death and fear. Donne wrote That Be Not Proud, also known as Holy Sonnet 10 in 1609, which is a collection of love and religious poems. The poems in this collection deal with death, divine judgment, divine love, reflecting Donne's personal strife and fears. Around that time, he suffered heavy economic losses and was involved in a secret marriage that ruined his career and sent him to prison, all of which caused Donne to feel stressed and insecure. That Be Not Proud highlights his metaphysical and religious approach to some of the difficulties he endured. That's a brief description of the figure of John Donne. Now, I will explain about the meaning of one of the John Donne poems, namely Holy Sonnet That Be Not Proud. First of all, I will introduce to you this poem by John Donne. Holy Sonnet That Be Not Proud by John Donne. That be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkst thou dost overthrow, die not, poor dead, nor yet canst thou kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure, then from thee much more must flow. And soon as our best men with thee do go, rest over their bones and souls delivery, thou art left to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men, and thus with potion, war, and sickness dwell. And puppy or charms can make us sleep as well. And better than thy stroke, why swells thou then? One short sleep pass, we wake eternally. And that shall be no more, that thou shalt die. So that was the content of the holy sonnet that be not proud. Now, let's get straight into the analysis of the poem. Historical context. This poem was written in 17th century in England, a time of considerable religious turmoil and the expansion of British reach across the globe. Donne was a Catholic born during a time of great anti-Catholic sentiment. In 1593, Donne's brother Henry was imprisoned for his Catholicism and died soon after. Later, he became a cleric delivering passionate sermons in St. Paul's. The tension between the two different forms of Christianity play on Donne's conscience, and the Holy Sonnets portray an individual desperate for confirmation that they have chosen the right faith. This poem consists of 14 lines and was first published in 1633 and can also be called the Holy Sonnet 10. The major theme in the poem is the powerlessness of death. The poem comprises the poet's emotions, mocking the position of death and arguing that death is unworthy of fear. According to him, death gives birth to our souls. Therefore, it should not consider itself mighty or superior, as death is not invincible. The poet also considers death an immense pleasure similar to sleep and rest. For him, the drugs can also provide the same experience. The poem foreshadows the realistic presentation of death and also firmly believes in eternal life after death. Okay, now we move on to the meaning per line of this poem. In the lines 1 and 2, the speaker directly discusses personification of death. The speaker said that death should not be arrogant just because some people think death is scary and intimidating as seen from the sentence, for thou are not so. The word thou refers to death. In line number 3 and 4, John Donne, as the speaker, accused the death of having an illusion of grandeur. He claims that death thinks he has the power to kill, but he doesn't. The speaker, or John Donne, first condescended that the power of death to overthrow life is just an illusion, and he has no such power at all. Later, to further humiliate death, the speaker called him is poor death. It sounds as if the speaker was mocking death for having life under the illusion that he had any power over life or death. Then he defied death by saying, "Nor yet canst thou kill me." It seemed dangerous for someone to threaten death in this way. But, however, John Donne was very confident in saying that. He used Christian theology to mock death by telling him, in effect, "Even if you take my physical body, you can never truly kill me." In the line 5 until 6, the speaker compared death to rest and sleep, and even used the word pleasure to describe how a person feels about death. Just as a good night's sleep brings pleasure, so does death. John Donne implies that sleep is but a small glimpse of death. So, there is nothing to be afraid of in death, because death will bring something like a pleasant sleep. In this line 7 until 8, the speaker says that the best people seem to die the fastest. The best among human beings deserve to experience a peaceful death sooner, without having to endure the suffering of a long life on earth. Speakers describe death as rest of their bones and soul's delivery. These two depictions make death seem like a welcome friend who comes graciously, offering rest and peace and liberation of one's soul from the pain and suffering that exists in the earthly body. In the lines 9 until 10, John Donne takes a stronger tone and begins to mock death even more furiously than he did at first. Here, he refers to death as a slave, chance, kings, and desperate man. He told that he was not mighty and terrible, but rather a poor slave who could not even act alone, but was driven by fate and opportunity, as well as by people rich and poor. John Donne later called death having such lowly companions as poison, war, and sickness. Death is a slave to destiny and humans, and as lowly slaves, his companions are even lesser beings like disease and war. This title serves to allow the reader to feel the power and victory over death. In the lines 11 until 12, the speaker continues to mock death. He says that death is just like a momentary sleep. The effect is not strong. Unlike some other sleep effect carriers like poppy or charm. The speaker also questioned that. Why is he so arrogant? As seen from the sentence, why swells thou then? Even though death cannot even do his job like other people do. In the last line of Death Be Not Proud, John Donne as the speaker reveals why he taunts death relentlessly. While it is clear that death is real and that people who experience death do not return to earth, the speaker reveals his reasons for claiming that death is weak and easily overcome. John Donne claims that death is just one short sleep pass. Those who have experienced death will wake up again afterwards, and he claims that once people wake up from the dead, death will no longer exist. Finally, he was like telling death, "Thou shalt die." Because when all wake up from that short sleep, they will be eternal in another world, and death will no longer exist. That was the meaning between the lines of John Donne's poem. In short, in the poem, John Donne seems to mock death. Death is not strong and only like a short sleep. Death is only like not to rest when the soul is tired. Death also cannot choose its victims. It only depends on human destiny and decisions. After death, people will wake up again in the eternal realm, and there they will not meet death again. Death will die and disappear. Okay, next is rhyme. In this poem, various lines 1 until lines number 8 followed the scheme ABBA, ABBA. This is the typical scheme found in Petrarchan sonnet. And then in line number 9, introduce a new rhyme sound. The pattern remains the same: C, D, D, C, and E, E. In terms of rhyme, then the poem can be divided into 3 quatrains, 2 of which from the octet, and an ending couplet. Okay, next is meter. The meter in Death Be Not Proud is iambic pentameter. Line 5 gives an example of perfect iambic pentameter. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be. Okay, next is symbol. As part of the argument against the power of death, the speaker repeatedly refers to sleep and rest. These activities symbolize the impermanent, even restorative nature of death. When someone is asleep, they are unconscious and terribly separate from their interaction with the world and other people, just as they will be in death. But sleep is also a kind restorative retreat, good for the mind and body, that everybody needs. It follows that if death is a kind of sleep, it is nothing to be feared. Sleep is a good thing. In fact, if this is a kind of super sleep, it is even something to be looked forward to. See where this symbol appears in the poem. The second symbol is bones. The speaker considers that a rest for bones. The bones represent the physical shape of the body. It also shows that these bones are meant to decay because humans are mortal. The whole poem teaches the division between body and soul. The bones represent the body which does not last for long. On the opposite side, the soul lives forever. People leave their bones behind before going to the eternal world. Okay, next is figurative language. There are 6 figures of speech in this poem. Number 1 is personification, alliteration, anaphora, paradox, metaphor, and assonance. Okay, first is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of the same consonant sounds in the same lines of the poetry, such as the use of th in and better than thy stroke, why swells thou then, or for those whom thou thinks, or use of w in sentence we whack. Next is assonance. Assonance is when two or more words close together in a line have similar sounding. For the example, thou thinks thou, much more mass, bones and souls, slave to fat. And the last one is disparate man. Okay, next figurative of speech in this poem is repetition or anaphora. Anaphora is used to emphasize meaning and reinforce an idea, as in line 7, 10, 11, 12, and 14. In line 7, and soon as our best man with thee do go. Line 10, and thus with potion, war, and sickness dwell. Line 11, and puppy or charms can make us sleep as well. Line 12, and better than thy stroke, why swells thou then? And the last line, lines 14, and that shall be no more, that thou shalt die. In the sentence is used and in the preposition. Okay, next is metaphor. Metaphor is a figure of speech in which a word or phrase is applied to an object or action to which it is not literally applicable. The first is used in the opening line, that, be not proud. Here, that is compared to a proud man. The second is used in the 9th line, thou art slave to fat. Here, in this word, that seems the same as humans, namely slaves of destiny. Okay, next is personification. Personification means to attribute human features to non-human things. The first personification in this poem is from line 1 until line 4. Here, the speaker said that death is not powerful or mighty because he doesn't kill, but simply a peaceful escape from life. Death gives negative human traits, pride mainly, and death is like a sleep, a commonplace image. The speaker suggesting that death is just a short sleep. The final reference to sleep is in the couplet. One short sleep pass. Death really is no more than a short sleep. It has been reduced step by step in this extended metaphor. The personification of death is evident from the initial line of the sonnet Death. Be not proud, though some have called thee. This first personification shows the attitude of the poet towards death throughout the poem by making the audience immediately aware that death is not above being addressed by a mortal. Okay, the last one is paradox. Paradox is a statement that appears to be logically contradictory and yet may be true. Paradox in this line is that thou shalt die, the final statement of the poem. This place don't stand against death and his wish for societies to stop fearing death and accept it as a rest of their bonds and their soul delivery as they depart from one life into another. The writer concludes this line use paradox. The next is setting of the poem. The setting of the poem is not specific. There are some clues in the poem that link it to 17th century Europe. The speaker says that death is a slave to kings. It shows the role of monarchs in that era. War was common at the time. Also, religious disturbance in Europe was associated with monarchies. The word poppy also represents the popular drug opium in 17th century England. Okay, next is tone. The tone of the poem is dark, challenging, and mocking. It begins as a challenge to death, but in the later part, the one-sided conversation humiliates death. Okay, the last one is quotes from Death Be Not Proud. These lines can be used when teaching religious belief that has faith in life after death. Additionally, the poem and the below lines can teach the importance of living in the world and hereafter. That was the meaning between the lines of Jandan poem. In short, or the conclusion of the poem, Jandan seems to mock of death. Death is not strong, and only like a short sleep. Death is only likened to rest when the soul is tired. Death also cannot choose its victims. It only depends on human destiny and decisions. After death, people will wake up again in the internal realm and there they will not meet death again. Death will die and disappear. Okay, I hope you like and enjoy this video. Thank you very much for listen and watching this video until the end. See you in the next video guys. Bye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.